The word is working, the word is working, the word is working. Oh, the word is working, the word is working, the word is working in me. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me today. I would like to start with Sir Zoe. My question to you is, do you think the church is doing enough or anything at all to improve the belief system of Africans in India? Considering that we are living in a country where a lot of things are idolized, we live in a place where Christianity is not really popular. So do you think the church is doing anything at all?
One question. I would like to first say thank you to my leader for the opportunity to be here. Do I think the church is doing enough? I'll speak from two angles. The first angle I'll speak from is what is the church, and number two, the second angle I'll speak from is what's our role as believers. So do I think the church is doing enough? Now, you see, there is no place where you go until people are properly taught, discipled, trained, pastored, how they live even after they are born again could be so much jeopardized. So one of the things I've seen in my experience and when I work with different leaders is so much zeal that has no passion, no pastoral guidance, no mentorship. And as I interact with different leaders of different denominations, I see people put structures in place where people should learn the gospel, they should be built, they should be taught, you know. So in my experience, I think the church this far, we're doing enough to ensure that there's a proper way we conduct ourselves, there's a proper way we worship God. For example, adding to the many contributions that people do, we run a program on Tuesday called Ministry Mentorship. Because sometimes always going on social media and blasting the church, we're not called for that. The church has not been called to that space. So what we decided to do is let's, of the little that the Lord has put in us, let's share with others. So we bring leaders in one place and ensure that we add to what many are doing. Now, it may not seem in consonance, not because there's nothing being done, but you see, because people have been raised from different backgrounds, different cultures, and because Christianity is not a religion, so sometimes it makes it hard to pass on a coherent culture to people. But this far, the church is doing good. It's doing good. There could be so much backlash, and there's no ministry, there's no church online. You see, so there's church on ground. When you find someone who is insulting a pastor online, ask them if they could do church on site. You see, dealing with people on site is literally so difficult than just getting your phone and typing, "Oh, this pastor said this and this one." And few people are doing that. There's so much work on ground that is going on. And few years from now, you see a people who are well cultured, well pastored, well mentored, take on leadership roles in church. You see, we're going to know how to relate with one another. It will no longer be a space of just wanting to talk. It will be a space where you are talking because there's an assignment on you, there's responsibility on you, and there's someone overseeing your life. So the church is really doing enough.
I like what you said about Christianity not being a religion. I'd like to ask, do you think Christians give Christianity a bad name? And I'm asking because I've had quite a lot of people ask me personally if we are saying we worship a God, a good God, we are Christ-like, but we do not do what we were called to do.
Do I think Christians give Christianity a bad name? Well, the first thing I'll say is, for one to be a Christian, we do not behave to be born again. We believe to be born again. So, when you believe to be born again, the belief that has been passed on to you produces how you behave. So, the world does not know this, hence the world will criticize. Now, why does it seem, because there's a part of it that seems like that. Why does it seem as though we that believe live differently? You see, the Bible does tell us an heir, as long as he's a child, is not different from a slave. You see, so many Christians get born again, and when they are born again, you see, God's strategy for the believer has been, after you are born again, you are born into a family. And the family could be a fellowship. It could be people talking to you, people mentoring you. So why does it seem like that? It seems like that because Christians who deny to be pastored, to be mentored, to be guided in the ways of righteousness, those are the people who become liberated. Because, it's because you've believed. And if you do not want to go down on that path, you could do literally anything. Because there is no one overseeing you. And it's always God's wisdom that when you are born again, God will give you a pastor. You see, someone who cross-checks what you do, how you live. It's not regulation. It's God's idea for your development. So, I think so because people who are in that space, they've not given themselves to proper training.
Thank you so much. Mr. Global Lion, you wrote a book called Thrive Across Borders. What inspired the book?
Thank you very much. I would say what actually inspired the book was the first day my leg stepped into India. When I got to the airport, I could still remember what I'm sitting in, and I'm just viewing what happened that day. I was waiting for my friend who brought me to India that wanted to come and pick me. But I'm a very fast thinker. I think beyond what I see. I see everything, just like that. But the moment I came down, as I was standing in front of the airport, I picked the sands and I held it in my hand and I spoke to it. And I said, India, hear my voice. And coming to India for the first 1 week, first 2 weeks, I was just studying people. I was studying the systems. I was studying the strategies of the Indians, people like that. I think I went to school the first day, second day, did my registration. But I took 1 week into 2 weeks studying people, systems. What do people think when they go to school? What do they think when they come out of school? How does things work out there? What are the spiritual entities that affect the people staying here? Because you can live in a particular environment and then you shift to another environment and you don't understand the entities that are around that place, you find yourself that you're lost. And so when I came in, I realized that we as Africans coming to India, we left our identity and then we came here and most of us became lost. We lost our identity, we lost clarity, we don't even know what we're doing, we're just going to school, we don't even know what is next. And so when I started asking questions about people, what is happening, why is this like this, what's going on, everything I kept getting was confusion. So I realized that there is a gap, that people are stuck, not because they are not talented, but because they don't know how to transition. They don't know how to move. They don't know how to conquer the city that they are. And God has given us that city to take over, right? And so that was what I found out. And so when I my affirmation is that I speak every day. I'm not the praying, speaking in tongues type, but when I wake up in the morning, my pastor friend stays with me most times when we walk and think, I speak to the walls. It's the way, I don't know, it's the way it works for me. And when I speak, the walls, I don't know how it happens, but anything I want to do, I don't do them with money. The conference we had last year, I didn't do them with money, but we spent almost close to 1 lakh. I don't even know how the money came out. So I realized that we are stuck, but we don't know how to come out. And so how do we thrive? How do we move from this point to this point? And God began to show me things. I began to see things. I began to realize the loopholes, what is keeping us stuck. And that was where the name came from, Thrive. Because I said I am going to thrive in India. I don't know how it's going to happen. I didn't come here to get stuck. I came here not to take. I came here to give back. I came here to be impacted. I came here to be inspired. So when I come out, I don't look for job. Job come for me. People connect me. And then I build people. I've been wired to build people. So I already knew what I was born for. But I did not allow the things that I see, the people that are stuck, the circumstances, because there was one language that was common that I keep hearing, or more India will stuck, India will fuck you up, you know. You know, you just come in and nothing is working, everybody, no food, no money, we're struggling, you're standing like, no job, no this, no that. I've not worked since I've been here. This is like my third year, almost my final year. I've not worked, but I've been living, I've been surviving. Do you understand? So that gave me the idea to say, okay, let me write the book. I never thought about writing a book last year. In short, my goal plan last year was just 3. Writing a book was never in the plan, but it came and I wrote it. I've never thought I was going to write a book, but I wrote it. And the solution to thriving, which has to do with our mind, what God has put inside us, it's what I wrote in the book. Thank you.
Would you consider writing another book?
I'm already writing my second book and it should be ready for the conference.
Okay. I'd love to read that book. What are your plans for 2026?
2026 has started already. The plan is right now at Thrive, the whole idea of Thrive is beyond me. The way it has become, it's not beyond my business. Because when we started, we started building people. We started talking to people about clarity. My vision or my idea came from clarity. And so today people see me and say, Father of clarity. And I told them I'm not the father of clarity because God is the father of clarity. God gave me clarity. God gave every one of us clarity. You understand? But the problem we have is not that there are no talented people. It's not that we don't have skills as Africa. It's because of 2 things. One, there is no access to us finishing school and getting the jobs. Even if you want to do a business, there is no access to get the funds to get the job, to build a business, right? So those are 2 problems I realized last year after our conference. And after the output, after our impact report, seeing the impact, the students, the people that came to the conference and became graphic designers, even the current website we're having, somebody from the conference built the website and is the COO now of the Thrive Future Global as a company because we had to register immediately and we're registering in India very soon. You understand? And all the partners I now have, or all the people that are building Thrive now, are people from the community that we built. I didn't start the community with the crowd. We're not up to 30, but everything you see is being done by those people. Because I said I am not opening the community for crowd. I don't need 300 people. I don't need 500 people. If one life, it's just like what we see as Christians. God is not interested in 1,000 people you want to save. God is interested in one soul that you save because one soul can save 10 souls. So I believe that one person from the community that is transformed, that gains that clarity, can transfer it to another person because it can't be a disappointment to African community. Do you understand? So this year our focus is basically creating pipelines for people to be able to move from their ideas, to execution, from talent to jobs, from school to internship. And currently we've already signed 3 partnerships from January. In short, between December 30th and January ending, we've signed 3 partnerships with 3 different institutions. Although it's only one that is from Turkey, and that is based on taking students out, for jobs, opportunities. The other one is in France. So if those that have seen my status, I've always posted about Bodam, and recently I'm posting about New Zealand, for job paths, because that is what we do. So basically now we're focusing on not just teaching people, but you can teach me. We come to school, we read school after our schools and our studies. So what happens next? That's the next question every graduate asks. There's no job. You go back home. And most times I've realized that in India we don't want to go back home. We just want to sit down here. but how can we move to that point? So this year we are focusing on employability, mobility for students, not just to become students, but to become founders, not just to become founders, but to be able to create their own job, create opportunity for others to work, and also give them access to the jobs in India, not call center. Well, I mean jobs. There are jobs in India. I know 2, 3 of my friends who stay in India, they make up to like 1 lakh in like 3, 4 months. And it's not call center. They are doing jobs, they are working. But then again, it comes to access. What access do we have? And that has to do with how we build ourselves, the network, the connection. I'm connected to somebody like 100 company today from seeing her in the conference. I've seen on her stuff. We're meeting for the first time. We just talk on phone. I have I don't know, I've forgotten her name, our beautiful sister here, that was one of our first speakers for the conference. I don't know her, I just knew her to somebody. And one of the things I realized that keeps us most times from Africa, most of our students here, is that we become so comfortable being in India. You leave Africa, you know, let me use where I come from as a Nigerian. You come from where we say your house, nothing they happen. I mean, hunger they beat you normally. Then you can't come here finish, you can't form packaging. Do you understand? We come here and form like everything is okay, everything is normal, but back home, you know, there is nothing. So you need to work hard, you need to think, you need to build, you need to do something. So that is what it's all about. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hello, sir. I'd like to know from you, what advice would you give young men prior to coming to India?
First and foremost, I would like to take this opportunity to thank African Time for giving me this platform, and to personally thank my brother. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. My name is Stephen. Most know me by the name Dr. Stephen. I was a student at Maharishi Markaneshwar University, MMDU, Mulana, Ambala. I was studying there past 5 years. Currently, the university offered me a job, so I'm joining as a doctor in the hospital. So that one is one good thing, thanks to me. And I've also been the president of international students in that campus, and being in the position of leadership. I don't know if you want me to answer that question from a personal perspective or
From a personal perspective, please.
from a personal perspective. One thing, leave alone coming to India. When you are leaving your place, you are going to another place. There are things that you are going to face. The biggest thing you will face is culture shock. That is the biggest problem that everyone will face. No matter where you'll be going, no matter how familiar you are with the people who will be there. You might be going to a place that your friends are already there, but it is your first time, it is your first experience. So culture shock is going to really shock you. So the advice I will give to young men who are looking forward to coming to India specifically is that they should be prepared to not exactly meet their expectations, because we come with very high expectations, and then when we reach here, things turn out not to be what we wanted. So in as much as they will be having expectations, in as much as they will be wanting big things, they should be prepared to face challenges, to face hurdles that will not prevent, that will challenge them in attaining their expectations. So I would advise them to tone their expectations. Another thing I would advise them is that you will come to a place, depending on where you'll be, south, north, you will come and find people who are established, people who have been in the systems, they know different things. And if you are that person who acts like a flag, when the wind blows east, you go east. When the wind blows west, you go west. Then you'll be carried away by a lot of things. So when you reach here and you do not have a solid mind and you are not bound by a standing ground that I have come to India for solely one purpose. If you are someone who will be straying away, then there are people who are ready to lead you astray. Like there are people here who are fashioned to really take you north when you're supposed to be going south. So if you are not someone who stands on ground, then you will end up being in the wrong places, in the wrong time. Another thing I will advise them is on relationships. That is one thing people run away from, but it is a reality. When I say relationships, I do not mean girlfriend, boyfriend, I mean the friends, the type of relationship you are going